I'm very excited to introduce friend of Wisconsin, Adam Scott.
Thanks for having me this morning. You know, this is obviously such an important time, and what you guys showed this year after, in 2016, Trump winning by less than a point, and then coming back in 2018, winning the governorship. But then this year is going to, I think Wisconsin is going to go down in history in April of this year as a dress rehearsal for showing that that no matter what the GOP throws at us, we can and we will win. So I think every Wisconsin Democrat deserves a huge thanks from the rest of the country. And I think also, everyone here is well aware of everything that's going wrong right now in our country, what a tough time this is. So just the fact that you are all working as hard as you are, you just deserve our thanks. And I just wanted to come on and thank you. And, on the show, on Parks and Recreation, we had Vice President Biden on a couple of times, and Dr. Jill Biden came on an episode as well. And Ben just had reminded me about the second time Vice President Biden was on. We were shooting actually in the vice presidential mansion, and we were there. We were going to shoot a scene with he and Dr. Biden, and they were held up at an event, and so we were just waiting there for a while, some of the actors and the crew, and it was really nice. It was a beautiful, we're just kind of finding different places to sit around and hang out. And at one point we were in the actual house waiting. And I remember Aubrey Plaza, one of the other actors on the show, falling asleep on the couch. And I just got up and started sort of wandering around, sort of poking around the vice presidential mansion. Not sure if it was okay, but I was just going to see what I could kind of look at in this incredible historic house. And so I found myself in a study of sorts, kind of near the entrance of the mansion. And I kind of went in there looking around, not sure if it was okay, but no one seemed to mind that I was in there. And there was a coffee table in front of this couch, and I saw a photo album just sitting there, and I went in and picked it up and again looked around. It seemed okay, and I opened it and I realized what I was looking at was Vice President Biden's personal photo album of the 2009 inauguration from January 2009, with all his personal photos and inscriptions. And I was kind of standing there by myself, going through page by page this incredible what ended up being this historic document, but also extremely personal. And I was sort of just lost in this photo album when all of a sudden someone grabbed me from behind and just suddenly just said, "Hey, drop that photo album right now." And I turned around and it was Vice President Biden. and he then kind of grabbed it and showed me a couple photos and gave me a nice story or two. And it kind of just goes to show what a lovely, congenial, nice person he is. And the little time I've spent with the vice president working on the show and behind the scenes on the show and just chatting with him, he's as I'm sure some of you know, as lovely and intelligent and engaged a person as you would want in a leader. And so I think that we have a ticket here that we can be just so incredibly excited about. I know I am more excited than I've been in a long time. And I just want to thank all of you for working as hard as you can. And I'm sure you're sick of hearing Wisconsin may be the most important state in the upcoming election. So goes Wisconsin, so goes the country. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adam. Can I ask, how did you first become engaged in politics? On this call, there's a whole bunch of political junkies, and you're pursuing a different career, but you're throwing yourself into this election. So how did that happen?
You know, I grew up with parents who were really engaged, and growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was Reagan and Bush, and my parents being proud Democrats. Just sort of, we watched the debates together. We stayed up on election nights watching the returns come in, and being the 80s and growing up in the 80s, they were all disappointing evenings. But then the first election I was old enough to vote in was getting to vote for Bill Clinton in 1992. But also in high school, I had that teacher that we hopefully are all lucky enough to have at some point in high school or college. And it was Ron Indra. He was my U.S. history teacher, and he would start every class by just sitting up in front of the class with that day's newspaper, the San Francisco Chronicle, and just going through every single story that was on the front page and analyzing, why is this on the front page? Why didn't they put this on page 2 or 3? Why is this on the front page? And kind of going down and analyzing each story, particularly the political stories. So I knew that every morning I found out that you just look at the front page of the newspaper, and there is going to be something there that can hook you in and blow your mind. There is also always something important going on, something worth knowing in the day-to-day life of our country.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you're so engaged, and I'm glad that you had such an amazing teacher. Adam Scott, ladies and gentlemen, of Parks and Recreation, and much, much more. Thank you for joining us here in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks, everybody.